actually we have to start with the observation that what crisis we are in is really kind of a matter of perspective. Also, I think the world has always been in crisis. Go back to the 1970s. Oil crisis, the PLO, the shooting Israeli athletes in Munich, Club of Rome report saying that we are going to run out of oil and the world will end. I mean, people are worried about population growth, green revolution, trying to feed the world, Vietnam War, So I'm not saying that we don't have problems. I'm not saying that even saying that the problems we have now are, smaller than what we used to have. But we have to kind of be a bit calm in, talking about this poly crisis, and because in a way, the way we are told that we are in such a crisis is because Americans feel threatened about their hegemony. That's why they are like creating this narrative. They are being caught up by the Koreans, the Chinese, Germans. They need to do these things, and then they need to create this narrative that we are in a uniquely critical period. And this is one reason why suddenly industrial policy is popular. When I was doing my PhD in my early career, when I was doing research on industrial policy, a lot of people thought I was crazy. The industrial policy used to be a dirty word. You do not mention it in polite company. Now everyone's doing it, and suddenly all these economists who used to criticize industrial policy talk as if they have always supported it. There is actually an ironical truth element of truth in there, because even during the neoliberal period, industrial policy in the rich countries never went away. The US, is, of course, is the country that invented the infant industry argument. It is a country that used to be the most protected economy in the world for most of the 19th and early 20th century. But after the Second World War, it's that the trade protectionism and so on had diminished. But it had one of the biggest industrial policies in the world. Even during that period, only that it wasn't called industrial policy, it was called defense research. So, throughout the Cold War period, the US government financed at least at 50%, sometimes up to 70% of R&D in the country. During the same period, the supposed industrial policy states, supposed DVGs, the countries of Korea and Japan, their government invested only 20% of GDP, 20% in R&D. The rest was done by the private sector. So who had that stronger industrial policy? It was the Americans, because they basically define and redefine the basic technological parameters and give those technologies for free, and that's how you create a Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley was basically almost entirely in the beginning getting money from the Ministry of Defense and the US military for their research. Semiconductor. Thanks to my friend Mariana Mazzucato, people now know that all these technologies used in the iPhone, like GPS and so on, were developed by U.S. defense research, but few people know that semiconductor, the basic raw material of modern digital economy, it was initially almost entirely financed by the U.S. Navy. Yeah? Always had this amazing industrial policy. So I used to joke that the most important industrial policy of the United States is to convince other countries that it doesn't use industrial policy. I think the real crisis that we need to talk about, therefore, is the ecological crisis. I try not to say climate crisis because that's the only one part of this general ecological crisis. Yeah? It's about biodiversity, it's about pollution, ranging from air pollution to plastic pollution of the ocean, yeah? Depletion of resources, yeah? The toxic the elements that come out of processing these materials. Yeah? We are talking about a general the environmental breakdown rather than simply there being kind of too much the greenhouse gases and the climate warming up. Although the impact of that ecological crisis is the kind of on a more obvious and larger scale than other elements of ecological crisis, that we need more than simply kind of decarbonization. Yeah? We also need, if you like, dematerialization. Yeah? So using less the material, yeah? Reusing and recycling materials. Yeah? Developing making things with materials that are more plentiful or renewable. Yeah? And of course, these two are related because if you make, say, cars with carbon fiber rather than steel or aluminum, it's the materials are a lot more plentiful, and also the car becomes lighter, so you will need less energy, which means lower carbonization. Yeah? Anyway, so we need to think about this environmental crisis in a comprehensive way. It's decarbonization, dematerialization, but also kind of, if you like, geographical reorganization. Yeah? So shortening the supply chain, yeah? Redesigning the urban living space, yeah? Trying to bring more people into urban areas so that you can provide more infrastructure more economically. From developing country point of view, is advancing in a very kind of problematic way, because at one level the rich countries now using all these industrial policies to develop renewable energy. It is opening up kind of intellectual space for developing countries to use the industrial policies more aggressively, without necessarily the meaning to do that. Will replicate the existing international division of labor. So basically it will be, okay, we'll do the research on green energy. You provide the raw material, whether it's solar radiation or the platinum that you need for hydrogen cars, or lithium that you need for batteries. You provide the raw materials, and we'll give you these technologies. I mean, if they are nice, they'll give it at a discount, but usually they'll charge the full price. So you are going to replicate this global economic division of labor. Now, given their relatively low technological capabilities, a lot of developing countries will basically have to accept this replication of the global economic hierarchy. I mean, I don't like it, but that is the reality. But at least kind of upper middle income countries like Mexico and Brazil, Argentina, I mean, these countries can and should do something to use this as a what some people call window of opportunity to leapfrog over the more advanced nations. A lot of people, including myself, believe that one reason for economic success of the East Asian economies is that they got into electronics earlier than many other advanced countries. Of course, initially as the lowest kind of the cheap labor assemblers. I mean, the South Korea in the 1960s, assembling transistor radio for Japanese companies was considered cool, because it was one of the poorest countries in the world with per capita income less than half that of Ghana's, 1/3 that of Senegal's, and so on. But getting into these industries earlier than the British, the French, and in certain sectors earlier than the Germans. It was that the region was able to leapfrog these economies. So can Mexico, can Brazil, can Argentina do something like that? And in order to achieve this, you need to have the coherent and the strong industrial policy, especially because a lot of these climate related technologies require large scale investment. They have a long time horizon. So you need that more aggressive industrial policy